Very excited. I've been looking forward to this all week. Really excited to have you guys on. Obviously, we're closing in on the timing of kickoff. You know, it's basically nearly a weekish to go. I know we've been counting down the Discord. I'm sure you guys are just as excited to see all the stuff come to fruition. So just so everybody's up to speed, we've just worked out in Discord that I should probably introduce myself before I kick the whole thing off. So I'm Jeriento, Community Manager, along with Sam. I'm sure he'll be up here any moment now. And with us today we have AJ and Jake from the L1DEX team, which is awesome to have them on every time. Just like yesterday's Twitter space, it's always, you know, mind-boggling with the information and the new knowledge we get to learn each time. And I know I work away here to have a nap for 2 hours just to get my brain around some of the things that are said. So it's always good to have you guys on.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. We're happy to be here. Big thing coming up.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, no doubt. When you say it out loud that we're 7 days away, it definitely puts it in perspective for sure.
I don't know if it's excitement or pure terror, but it's some emotion. It's something that I'm feeling. Awesome. So let's just we'll get kicked off with our general housekeeping. Normally I do the current contest campaigns and things like that. So for the most part, leading into the mainnet beta, where our Gleam campaign has just wrapped up. So if you want to check in, if you were one of the winners, all of the wallets have been posted in our winners update channel in Discord. I know that some of the other competitions are starting to round out now as well as we start to head into our next phase. And we'll be kicking off some new things very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for those things coming up. We do have, obviously, the content today is very much based around the L1DEX, and the guys will be able to share all the information there. So, even if we can go through some of the cross-chain swaps, the balancer pool, the staking, lending, borrowing, I'll hand it over to the guys and they can kick off and tell us all the updates from their end. And then towards the end, we can also get community questions and get you guys engaged as well. So over to you guys. Let's dive in.
All right, awesome. Yeah, no, like I said, thank you for the opportunity for being here. I'm AJ. I run EMP Finance, and we were awarded earlier this year the contract for the premier DEX on L1X. With that, we brought on DEX CEO, or Jake. He is a trusted member of DeFi with a successful project of his own, DEX Finance. And together, over the last, 6 months at least, we've been putting everything together for a successful launch. And again, having the DEX be ready and live. Now, I do want to start off, before I hand it over to Jake here to go down the list, I do want to start off by just setting some expectations. We're all super excited for L1X. And, this is truly revolutionary tech, and we feel like we are going to deliver on all fronts. But remember that we are rolling out in this kind of, mainnet beta phase. So there's a lot of features that, as the nodes are spun up and the Genesis block is created with L1X, that sort of infrastructure has to happen first. And then the DEX can operate on top of it. So we are going to be ready when launch happens, but we have a ton of things on the roadmap that are super exciting for the future. And although they may not be live on minute one of day one, they will be live very shortly as we continue to build out. But the major things, obviously, utility for L1X, and the swapping, cross-chain swapping, those are definitely part of the MVP or minimal viable product. So we're excited. So again, I just want to start off things before we get super excited and drop some alpha, just to set some expectations of what to expect. But Jake, I know you've been busy. Again, just to give everybody a little background on our relationship, we handle a lot of the marketing and business relations side, and Jake, DEX CEO, he handles a lot of the tech side. So, Jake, I guess we can start off by what you've been busy with, man. We've been standing everything up, right, brother?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Obviously, many of you guys have probably seen the website up now. It's great to kind of see, things taking shape. Been working really closely behind the scenes with Kevin and the whole L1X team. They're doing a real smash-up job. But just again to emphasize your last point, the gravity of launching this amazing new tech, doesn't fall lightly on us. And I think even more to your point, we're expecting to roll everything out. Everyone's been putting a lot of time in this, so not to be confused with delays, but we want to make sure that we take a very systematic approach to this and kind of roll out in a specific order that allows us to make sure that everything's triple tested. All the functionalities in there, so that when you guys do see the full products roll out, you're getting that full L1X, L1DEX experience that we're trying to bring you guys.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jay, for sure. I mean, both speaking for you and our own protocols, we've had 100% uptime. We've never been exploited. We've never had any catastrophic issues, and that is due to, our due diligence. And when you sprinkle in, revolutionary tech that a lot of us have never seen or worked with before, then it gets very complicated. But we have the best people on it, and I mean, again, we're excited for everything that's coming. And I think we can probably just start off with the swapping. I know that's what everybody is really clamoring for, and what makes L1X so special is the cross-chain swaps on native assets without having to use a bridge. So, Jake, do you want to go over real quick? I know, and for those of you too, Jake had mentioned our website, L1DEX.com. The website is up. It has a bunch of info on not only a light paper and white paper on how the DEX will actually function. We went over that a lot on our last AMA with you guys. But now we even have a partner section that, we'll get into a little bit later in the AMA on how we're going after other large DEXs and liquidity providers to make L1DEX really special. But let's just start off with the swapper and maybe drop a little bit of alpha here. I don't know, I might get in trouble, but you will be able to use your MetaMask as well. So although we're really pushing for the L1X wallet, and the full functionality will be in the L1X wallet, so it is really important that you download that and get used to using it. But we will be allowing a few swaps with MetaMask, so that should hopefully really help adoption as we go. And yeah, Jake, do you just want to kind of go over how the multi-chain swaps are working?
Yeah, I'm laughing because it's funny with such a beast of a project. There's just so many little intricacies, and as soon as I start thinking about how I'm going to describe this very unique swap system, you bring up the MetaMask wallet integrations. So
yeah, totally.
So yeah, lots to cover, and we're going to try to get through as much as we can in the next hour here. But yeah, I guess let's start with the basic swap, and you actually even also mentioned this partners page, which it is designed for it's made for the partners, but it's actually great if you guys are following along at home. It's a great resource because it really describes how everything works, and there's in terms of the cross-chain swaps, right? There's we've kind of broken it down into several different categories, right? At the very basic level, we're going to be hosting the main balancer pool for all the interoperable chains, right? So we'll have all the L1s, all the L2s. We've discussed this a little bit in previous AMAs, but this is, again, it's like a modified balancer pool that can hold up to like 50 tokens. We can rebalance it, so as new chains come in, we can always add more. change the allocations, those kinds of things, right? The balancer pool in general, just to kind of recap a little bit from some of the previous chats, this represents a really great opportunity for LP stakers because you're essentially staking just all blue chips, all L1 and L2s. And in this balancer pool setup, there's very, very low and permanent loss. It's super efficient. In fact, we actually added in, we're also deploying a secondary LP with, again, it's another balancer pool, much smaller, with maybe 3 tokens that will actually allow us to run concentrated liquidity on stable pairs as well. So a little bit of alpha. I don't think we've shared that, but so basically you have two pools, a volatile and a stable. The stables will, like I said, will allow for concentrated liquidity, especially allowing us to be used by more of the aggregators and things like that. It'll give us a lot more volume. And then, so I guess just thinking about the whole picture, right? So we have these LPs, right? These balancer LPs that live, on L1X, that come, through L1DEX, and I won't go too far into like this whole, partner flywheel that we created, which is also very unique. But the main premise, right, is by having these L1 and L2s and stable balancer pools, right? That's basically what allows you to swap between a native chain and native chain, right? So the very base model, right? The minimal viable product there, essentially is the ability to, basically use it as you would like a Synapse or a Stargate or any of these, other bridges, right? Where essentially you can swap any of the tokens within the pools to any of the other tokens on another native chain. Obviously, the L1X tech and this built-in functionality with the balancer pool basically allows us to do it at a fraction of the cost and almost in some cases like 20 times faster. Basically because you're only swapping, it's basically one exchange, right? It's putting it in on one chain and pulling it out on another chain in like a single transaction, as opposed to any of the big ones like Layer 0 and Stargate, right, is the most popular right now, where even them, they're better than it's been in the past, but you still need at least 2 up to 4 transactions sometimes. With receipt tokens and relayers and all these other things, right? But it goes much further down the rabbit hole, right? So, minimal viable product, basically you can use it as a bridge and it can swap in between any of the native chains, right? With stables or any of the L1, L2s, right? But with our network of partners, right? Essentially we can add that on top, right? So, in theory, like something like a 1-inch or something, right, where you would use an aggregator, right, a swap aggregator, to essentially buy any token you wanted with any other token. We can actually add that on top of the balancer pool, so that, for example, on chain A, right, on Ethereum, you could essentially swap Aave through a partner DEX to Ethereum, something in the balancer pool, have that go through the XTalk tunnel, come out on the other side, something like Optimism, right? Swap that again with something like another token like Link or whatever, and basically wind up with you could basically wind up swapping like Aave on Ethereum to Link on Optimism, right? All in a single transaction, essentially. So that's where it starts getting really exciting. Just the functionality of that alone, those 2 steps are really awesome. Time saving, more efficient than anything else on the market. But what's really cool is this, the next level deeper, is this idea of other partners bringing liquidity on as well, right? So the more liquidity we keep bringing on, the more like partners or even projects will be able to create their own cross-chain pools. And the more we get on, the more efficient everything gets through that web. And honestly, this is just like a mind-blowing reality that we've had a lot of really great feedback from partners that we've been talking with, I should say. Basically, what this allows you to do is consolidate your liquidity, right? So imagine an exchange that has liquidity on, say, 3 or 4 different chains, right? They have 1 million on AVAX, 1 million on BNB, and 1 million on Phantom, let's say, right? By bringing the 3 million, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, all onto a balancer pool on L1X, now they can offer that same 3 million that's split up between 3 chains. They can now offer that full 3 million to all 3 chains, and even furthermore, they can actually offer it to all the chains that we support. So, like overnight, small to mid-sized DEXs can now compete with much larger DEXs because their liquidity is all combined into a single pool.
That's fire. When you let that sink in, sorry to cut you off, Jake, but
no.
Yeah, we've been meeting with a ton of partners, and like that is like the drop the mic moment, so to speak. So, and I think that this will do wonders for adoption as well, because there is no other concentrated liquidity like this available in crypto. Period. So, yeah, go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
No. You got it. I'll run away with the conversation. But yeah, I mean that's something really special. Not even for the DEXs itself, but even just like individual projects that we're talking to. I don't want to name drop, but like imagine the project like someone like Frax, for example, which we actually, full disclosure, we actually haven't talked to them yet, but it's a great example because Frax is an independent protocol, and they operate on like 12 or 13 chains, right? So what this does for them, or what this could do for them, or anybody like it, is even a protocol could just bring all their liquidity on L1X and then basically operate their own exchange for those tokens to be able to intake or withdraw, swap out to any chain they wanted. It's pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, those are some of the features that really, we feel will set us apart. And we're already in talks and have those conversations going. Again, the idea is to have multiple, not only accept, mercenary liquidity, for lack of a better word, where all of you can provide liquidity to the DEX for, in exchange for LP rewards. But we also are now going after, again, these partner DEXs. And, again, we could see L1DEX having not only this true interoperability, but eventually hosting the most liquidity out of any DEX. I mean, it would be again a hybrid of this aggregator concept where we can route our swaps through all the partner DEXs, and then at that point we absorb all of those DEXs TVL as well. So things can get really crazy really quick. And like Jake said, you could go down the rabbit hole. Every meeting that we have, we come up with like 10 more ideas on how to make this even more powerful. And that's the really cool part about, the tech that L1X is providing. We haven't seen it in the space, at all. And so that opens up a lot of doorways for our development and ultimately, capital efficiency as well. Because remember, there's an engineering layer on top of the DEX as well. So not only will there be, different auto compounding vaults through DEXFi, but also, other protocols that want to build on top of the DEX, they get instant access and seamless access to all the liquidity that we have as well. So this, again, is super capital efficient, and it's just a big, giant neon sign for people to come build, not only on the DEX, but on L1X as well. So, yeah. All right. Awesome. That was a great intro. That's to get you excited. I don't know what will. So we're working on all that. Now, I know another big topic was borrowing and lending. So, Jake, I don't think, again, you feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that's going to be ready for, day one, but it is on our roadmap. So we're exploring ways to actually use that balancer pool to facilitate borrowing and lending as well, right?
Yeah, I guess maybe let's take a step back and maybe I can walk you through the game plan. Estimated kind of steps that we're going to take first.
I'm too bullish, Jake. You gotta reel me in, man. Go ahead. Yeah.
So the thing is, technically, yes. Like in theory, it could be offered. We have a couple core objectives for August 31st, right? And this relates back to there's just this massive feature set, but you guys got to keep in mind that like each one of those features is like a whole market sector, right? It's not like adding a zapper on like a swap. It's a whole industry has been built out of borrowing and lending, right? And we're kind of building from the ground up, right? So everything that we're building through the SDKs and stuff. This will essentially allow not only us but all our partners, basically the world, to interact with the L1X tech, right? So, to quickly answer your question, stuff like borrowing and lending, it's for sure possible. But again, we don't want to startle you guys. We want to take the right steps and kind of do it systematically. Make sure that everything's rolled out, working 100%. And especially stuff like borrowing and lending is we want to make sure there's no security issues and things like that. To put this in perspective, even the balancer pools, Balancer proper, just put out issued a recall on like 20% of their pools because they found some kind of security risk, right? So we're making sure we review everything and we're have all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted. But again, just to kind of step back, we have a few kind of main initiatives, right? That we want to make sure we hit before, or on the 31st when everything goes live. The one, obviously, I'm sure you guys are all, the main thing you guys are all looking for is getting access to your first set of tokens, right? They still start being vested. As AJ mentioned, the first block, goes off on L1X. At that time, you'll be able to, access the wallet, claim your first set of tokens, right? Connect to the apps, all those like just foot in the door kind of things that you need to make the rest of it work, right? So that all that stuff will be in there for sure. The next thing we're really focused on, obviously, is the SDKs, right? Because L1X is really advanced, to put it lightly, and it's also built in a programming language that not very many developers are familiar with. The SDKs are really important so that pretty much any developer, even like a WordPress developer, can take some of this stuff and at the basic functions, like just put the widget on their website. Obviously, it'll be more advanced for more serious developers to take and utilize and actually build their own products off of what we're building, and that doesn't limit us to swaps, exchanges, or anything like that. Where we've actually talked to a couple partners that we're speaking with that are interested in building like completely different products with the SDKs as well. So like it's just really kind of a gateway through that, and that's really big for not only adoption of the chain, but also liquidity on L1DEX, volume, all these things that are going to make it successful. We really need to make sure that is one of the very first things available. and that also requires documentation and, back and forth with partners and making sure everyone can use it and all that. So that's number two. The third and maybe the most important is liquidity, right? So, I mentioned a little bit about, how these swaps take place, and even the MVP, the basic swap that you can link up with even a MetaMask and just make it swap between chains, right? It requires, the reason why it's so efficient, as I mentioned, is because it all happens in one transaction, and it's all based on this balancer pool. Unlike some like the other bridging solutions, right, where they kind of just they're putting tokens into a pool and you get a receipt token, then you burn it on the other side, right? We really need deep liquidity in order to make sure that no one's getting hit on price impact and things like that, right? So it would be, it wouldn't be responsible of us to just open the floodgates on the first hour and just let people go nuts swapping, right? So we will have a period of time between the 31st over that first week where we will open up the LP staking pools. Again, you'll be able to claim your L1X, add your blue chips, create your LPs, and deposit and start earning rewards, right? So the money will start flowing. The use cases for your tokens will be available, and we can really start growing those LPs to make sure that we can handle the volume once we really open it up and the partners get the SDKs and all that. Also, the partners also need some time to work with the SDKs and get all that running. So, those are the three main objectives. Obviously, there's just a ton more. I mean, clearly stuff like borrowing, lending, those are like big ticket items. But even just general UI will most likely open up most parts of the app, even if we're not allowing the functionality to take place quite yet, because we have actually spent a ton of time on really great looking UI and UX, user flow and stuff like that. So, those four items are at the very top of our list. We'll definitely have all that stuff ready to go. You'll be able to start poking around and depositing in the pools and start earning money. And then, after first few days or so, we'll reassess and give a kind of a timeline on the full deployment of the XTalk tunnel and some additional partner stuff and things like that as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, this was part of the decision. Again, I'm not here to speak for L1X. We are a separate entity, but I think that was also part of the decision, to launch as a mainnet beta, and then have an actual go live, at the end of the year, because this allows us to work out all the kinks, build that liquidity. Again, like Jake said, finalize all the SDKs. Again, for those that don't know, that's a standard developer kit. That's essentially just a package of code that allows people to integrate with our DEX without having to write that code themselves. So all that will be much easier for people as we go. And again, I think that in crypto, we all have this like FOMO and this panic where, as soon as something goes live, we all want to just ape right in. And I mean, obviously, we want everybody to get excited about the DEX and L1X itself. But with this staged rollout plan, it really makes things a lot more controlled and safe for everybody, and allows us to, like Jay said, cross all of our T's and dot all of the I's, so there is no potential issues as we roll out. But all that being said, it's not a delay. Everything is moving as it should be. It's just the way this process has to go. So, yeah.
I think that's, like I said, everything's all lined up. Honestly, like I said, we could even potentially once the SDKs are out, it all could come together very quickly, and we don't want to give any real hard timelines on some of that stuff. But you know, as things are coming out, like I said, as long as we can test and feel confident that you know, everything's rolling out smoothly, we'll just keep adding. I know we've already started working on the L1DEX cross-chain vault systems. So we got our head down and we're building over here. So
Absolutely. So yeah, I know we can definitely take questions. You know, we was there any other topics we want to go over, Jake, before we get into questions?
I guess I think there was a couple pre-selected questions I think we might want to cover. Some stuff again, some of the additional features, functionality, that kind of stuff, like the P2P trading. That will be released sometime over the next few months. I believe, and I think actually Chief's here. He can probably back me up on this, hopefully. But I believe the understanding is that the public sale right now will probably spill over into the beta launch. So P2P won't happen until that's officially concluded, and then it'll be, you know, then we'll pick up on the P2P. I actually got a really interesting question this morning in our chat in relation to like how will the L1X tokens and the P2P stuff work in relation to the balancer pools. And that's actually another interesting kind of workaround that we've come up with. The rewards, there's no L1DEX reward token. It's just L1X. You know, APRs will of course be based on the public sale price until the P2P market opens up, and then it'll adjust for current market pricing. And also, you will be able to use your L1X tokens that, you know, may have been vested to you or you're buying in the public sale, as they will be in the main balancer pool. However, we've come up with this kind of unique system where specifically those L1X tokens will be kind of held off to the side in a holdings contract. You'll still get credit APR wise for those, but they'll be held separately so that the public, once we get out of beta in January, we can rebalance the whole thing, put those all back together. So that was an interesting one. Let's see, I think we covered one of the stuff like limit orders, and I just mentioned vaults, and actually gasless trading is one of the next questions was will L1DEX provide faucets? I don't. I mean, it's possible. The DEX itself will be gasless, so you won't really need a faucet. You could just trade any token you have for more L1X if you got it. But all those UI stuff, like I said, we're planning on having that right away. You know, again, another reason why we want to take our time and really just roll it out properly.
Yeah, no doubt. There'll be charting tools and you know, stuff like that. The more advanced stuff will come as we continue to develop. But one of the things I wanted to elaborate on a little more was again what to do with your L1X. So like Jake said, we will be allowing everybody to provide liquidity within, again, right off the bat. But it will have to be at least 15% of your LP will have to be an L1X token. So this will help, again, like Jake said, we'll put the L1X off to the side so that is ready when the full launch goes live. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to prepare for providing LP. You'll only be able to add LP with 15% L1X. So it might be a good way or a good opportunity to pick up more L1X if you don't have at least 15% of what you want to provide, you know, bearing it ETH or other stables or whatever else you want to provide liquidity on. So, and we also have some other cool things in the works that, again, we don't really want to go into right now, but it'll be a way to get involved in the DEX, you know, and potentially earn. So.
as I said at the start, it's always good to hear from you guys, and it's it's the best kind of brain bashing, trying to understand and keep up with what you're developing and what you're putting together. I know we've got community questions we've got coming through. So if you do have a question and you want to come up on stage, you can ask in that way, or you can slip it into the chat. Totally up to you guys. But we do have one, which I think is a great question from Omega, and that's how is gas handled when using MetaMask for the L1DEX swaps? So what does that look like, I suppose, so just as a general overview, and also what that looks like as an example would be perfect.
So I'm gonna defer details till we go live. I just I don't want to be misquoted. But again, the DEX runs on the new EIP 4337 standard, which can actually allow for kind of an intermediary wallet that handles the gas for you. So at a basic level, if you're buying with AVAX or BNB or whatever, we just facilitate the trade, and we take the gas out of the total amount spent in BNB or whatever, and then just convert that ourselves.
Okay, so that would be obviously for using MetaMask. Just waiting for more questions to come through from the community. While we're waiting for that, I noticed we've got Chief here. Is there anything from your end you want to give a shout out to? Just a clarification question from Red. So it's just the transaction fee that's in BNB?
Yeah, I mean, whatever token you're using. There may also be a swap fee and stuff like that, but for this, in terms of this question, when we're talking about gas, obviously L1X is the gas token. So you for sure will be required to have L1X, but again, that can be done kind of behind the scenes. You can think about it like you would see on a centralized exchange, right? Without getting too technical, on a centralized exchange, you basically deposit U.S. dollars or whatever fiat you have, right? You clearly wouldn't have any gas tokens if you're moving between layer ones between there. Obviously, they do that in a much more centralized approach where they control all of the main wallets and the funds, and you just get a number on a screen basically. In this case, there's just a small relayer that factors in the few cents for gas in L1X, and uses a relayer to kind of make that swap happen in between the swap that you're looking to take place.
Yeah, and you would still have to pay your gas fees on whatever chain you're coming from. So, and that's even more of a reason. Again, we're still trying to push adoption on the L1X wallet as well, because the wallet is really the way that you essentially unlock the full potential of again L1X and fees and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, and again, not to drop too much alpha, but we got the inside scoop on the wallet, and things are definitely shaping up. So that will be ready very shortly, again on launch. But yeah, so everything's coming together. But yeah, if you want to use, and have direct access to the DEX as well, that's another really cool thing. I know, again, Cody's not here, so I don't want to speak for him or steal any of his thunder. But the idea is that the DEX will also be integrated directly into the wallet. So, all any potential swaps within the wallet are automatic volume for the DEX itself as well. So all those things add up for sure.
Look, I'll just jump in here. One of the things to remember is that in using wallets like MetaMask, you can't get away from having to pay for fees on the other exchanges. The whole benefit behind moving across to the L1X wallet is being able to, as we introduce the features, as Cody work through them and release them, to be able to pay for those fees using L1X. And also I just want to confirm some of the things Jake was saying around the tokenomics and the public sale and how we're going to be introducing the P2P trading. We've done a lot of work around the tokenomics side to help guide us through launch. The whole objective is to make sure that we ensure coin price stability and allow it to naturally appreciate in price based on the value that we provide with all the projects, and the DEX is probably that's the premier our premier launch product, and we're so pleased to be working with the DEX guys. They've been absolutely great. The number of calls we have with them, the number of mucking around that we give them with times and all the rest of it, these guys are just so accommodating. Thanks.
Let me, if you don't mind, I'll just jump in real quick. Just to reiterate this peer-to-peer marketplace, this is super bullish, guys. You're not going to get an opportunity again where you could buy a public sale, be able to use those tokens for 4, 5, 6 months and trade with, and have literally a guarantee that they're going to sell for higher after that time period. You basically, because there's basically a price floor, and it literally can only go up for several months while you have access to the tokens. So it's really kind of a phenomenal deal.
Yeah, 100%. I was just going to add in too, while we wait for some more questions, on my side of things, the marketing. I know everybody's, when marketing is the famous line in crypto, and I know L1X is ramping up on their side, but we're also ramping up from the DEX side as well. So gearing up to launch, I know a lot of you that know me personally, I go on the AMA train, as I like to call it, where we will do multiple AMAs per day leading up to a launch. So I'm happy to announce that we have a total of 7 AMAs over the next few days and counting. So hopefully by the time we get to the end of the month, we've gone through about 14 or so AMAs with other communities and eventually, hopefully, other partners as well that will, again, bring L1X and L1DEX to a much wider audience. So all that is ramping up as well. And we're excited. So we're all hands on deck. I know Jake and I joke it's back to the 20-hour days for this is 20 days straight. It'll be by the time this thing is launched, we'll be zombies, but it'll all be worth it for sure.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add a little bit of humour to it, the number of AMAs that AJ gets onto makes him just like us, busier than a cross-eyed air traffic controller. To say we're flat out is an understatement. And AJ, you're an absolute machine with those AMAs.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, we'll be posting them in the Discord as well. So make sure when you see those AMAs, you're commenting and helping teach the world about how powerful L1X is. So go ahead, Jake. Did you want to say something too? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention maybe on the marketing front, if we can spill a little alpha over. We're working on putting together quite the large airdrop campaign coming up for launch as well. So we have a sizable budget. We're still working out some of the details, but this will be a really cool way for everyone to get their hands on some L1X first of all, but also really a good chance to use the product. Get involved with the socials, things like that. Where we understand and appreciate that there have been others in the industry that have maybe not done their airdrops in a way that the community would appreciate. So we're just taking our time and making sure again that everything goes according to plan and everything's transparent. But definitely something to start getting excited about. We're expecting big things out of that.
Yeah, 100%. Jake dropped the alpha bomb at the end here. So yeah, we are working on that. And again, this isn't your typical scammy airdrop that you never know if it's legit. This will be legit. It will be through all of our socials, and it'll be a great way to get L1X in the hands of a lot of people. Boost our socials. And again, it won't be inflationary either. So this L1X is already accounted for, and the fact that you can't really even sell it during the beta is even more bullish because it will incentivize people to actually use L1X, and that is the goal. So keep an eye out for that. Airdrop confirmed.
That's massive, and I think we get on here. It's always when you guys are here, there's always plenty of alpha. I know it's every couple of sentences there's a little bit more alpha to drop, and I know that's part of the exciting bit. But for the degens, airdrop confirmed is something that's obviously pretty massive as well. So you can start spreading word about that. I guess get it out there to all your friends. It's very, very exciting. Just waiting for more questions to come through, and then I suppose if there isn't any more specifically, we can start to wrap up. But if we had to drop just one more piece of alpha or just one more closing statement or something like that from each of you, what would it be?
Jake, you want me to go first, bro, or you? I know you've been doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, let me think about what we can say. Honestly, I got to hold myself back on all these chats. I'm going to be real excited. Come first of the month where we can really really push everything.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and I would say, again, we alluded to it all throughout the AMA today, but working with this revolutionary tech, it opens up so many doors that we're still wrapping our head around. And again, it's not that we're not working and busting our asses. It's just that we come up with these ideas that just have never been possible before. And in the developer world, I think it's called feature creep, where you keep adding and adding all these ideas. But we're excited on that. I mean, we want to add, we want to build really cool stuff with L1X and L1DEX. And so that's what gets me excited, knowing what is coming and what is now possible, through this tech. And again, I know, there's been a lot of documentation put out. We're going to put out some more documentation of our own as well. Jake has been working on a great comparison, to Stargate, to Layer 0, to CCIP, all the interoperable and bridging solutions that we blow out of the water. And I think seeing that on paper really helps, wrap your head around why this is different. Again, L1X is providing its own virtual machine, which is a whole different monster than just a simple bridge. So all of that stuff is what I look forward to finally, capitalizing on, for sure. So.
And it's important to say that we haven't even tapped hardly any of the capabilities that DeFi can provide us with. Give you an idea of some of the areas that we're working through is around, imagine decentralized or DeFi-based mortgages, linking back across to traditional equities markets. There's all sorts of possibilities, wrapping up shares into tokens. The way we can expand this is absolutely humongous.
I got one more piece of alpha for you guys. In regards to the marketing efforts, obviously AJ and his whole team does a really great job with the grassroots campaigns. We've been working on our side on another prong of those marketing efforts, without giving away too much, because I'm not trying to give any ideas to potential competitors. But imagine if there was a way for every user that initiated a transaction on, say, Stargate or Synapse, right? And within a minute or two of them initiating that transaction, they got a message that said, "Hey, we just noticed you bridged, ETH from this to this. Did you know you could have saved 50% on L1DEX. Go here to try it on your next one. That's a real reality right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Jake and the rest of the team, we've been working on some next level stuff with super targeted ad spend to get people on board. So yeah, that's just one of the many things that, I mean, we could do a whole 5-hour AMA on all that we have cooking, but yeah, that will do wonders for adoption as well. And we still think that L1X will sell itself once we're live, because it will be faster, cheaper, safer, and super deep liquidity amongst all the chains. So yeah, that was great, Jake. Good one. So I know we only have about 10 minutes left, but yeah, was there any other questions or anything you want to dive into before we wrap it up?
We did have one question here. I'm not sure if it's answerable at the current time. If someone has integrated the hardware wallet to MetaMask and contributed, how to import that hardware wallet and confirm transaction is in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we've been getting a lot of questions about the wallet. That specific question, I'm not quite sure what they're getting at. But there will be options for, and again, this is probably a better topic for Cody and the wallet, team. But my understanding is that you will just sign a transaction that proves you are the owner of that wallet address, and then you'll be able to, again, assign whatever other hardware wallet or L1X wallet you would want to have. So again, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not part of the L1X team, so that might be a better question for Chief.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one that we'll get Cody to answer.
Yeah, I think just to follow up on that too, it's not necessarily that we're trying to restrict access. Some of the functionality, the reason why L1X is so great is that it operates differently than other systems. So as we're putting the final pieces together, we'll for sure have clear documentation and explanations on how to do everything, and a clear rollout for anything that's coming up in the future. So again, we might not have all the answers right this second, but for sure by the time you're ready to claim, there'll be clear and concise instructions.
Yeah, 100%. And I would be amiss to, if I didn't mention one more time at the end of this AMA, we are still hosting our own version of the public sale through the L1DEX. So again, we're the intermediary. You don't need to KYC, but we're still fully compliant because we register with L1X, and then we will distribute the tokens once we get them. But yeah, definitely check that out. Jake, what is that off the top of your head? L1X presale.io, or I don't.
Public
sorry,
sale.
guys.
Yep. L1X public sale.
Perfect.
Yep. .io. Yep.
.io. Perfect. So there you go. If anybody still wants to contribute, please feel free to check that out as well. And I think Chief too. You guys announced a fiat option, right? That was some bullish news this week.
Yeah, we did. We've been a lot of work going into that to try and get it set up. But we're pleased now that that's happening. If anybody has any, transaction issues with their bank, sometimes they need a bit more. Those banks need a bit more information. We know what the traditional banking system is like. They can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but we've got it in place to be able to do those fiat transfers.
Yeah, that's important to note. For anybody that is having any issues or anything like that, the team is here to help. But reach out on Discord in the help channel or on any of the other, all the messages do get to us and do get back to the team. So if you're having issues, please let us know so that we can, enhance the experience and make it so that everybody can get across the line for what we're doing. And we'll start to wrap this down now. And thanks AJ, Jake, Chief for being on. Having these sessions where we can really dive into some of the topics, I think is just awesome. I know the community really appreciates you guys being here. So massive thanks for getting on and sharing your knowledge as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely, brother. It's a pleasure. I'll let Jake have the final word, but as we get closer, please make sure you're not only joined on the LayerOneX or L1X Discord, but also the L1DEX Discord as well, because we will be rolling out probably daily AMAs as we get closer and closer to launch that will tie up all the loose ends that we may have just kind of glazed it over in the AMA today. We just have to wait till we get a little bit closer and that Genesis block finally goes off before the party really begins. So definitely check us out over there as well as our other socials. Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
No, I think I was just going to reiterate the same thing, man. Over the next 10 days or so, there's going to be a ton of updates. So please drop by the Discord. Keep up with AJ's AMA train. I'm going to be on as many as I can. Every day we're kind of tying up each of those loose ends. So if you want to be in the know, definitely join us there.
Perfect. And from our end, guys, we do have a lot more information coming out this week. Obviously, we're on the countdown now. It's and depending on where you are in the world, I have continuous back and forth with the guys in Discord, because obviously being on the east coast of Australia, we're nearly first apart from New Zealand, so our day is sooner than everybody else's day, 10 or 9, depending on where you are in the world. But in this next week, we do have announcements coming out about the wallet, about staking, about what's happening with nodes. So all that information will be stepped out in the coming days. So we do have a lot more coming through, and I can imagine there'll be questions that go with that as well. So make sure you keep reaching out so we can keep clarifying things and letting you guys know how things are going to work, because obviously this is the beginning of effectively stage 1, and things are about to really ramp up. So make sure you're here consuming the information, getting everything you need to know so that we can make this the best launch ever, basically. Once again, thanks for jumping on, guys, and we will wrap that down. I think I can't see any more questions, but I think it's been a great having you here, and we will see you all on the next one. Massive week ahead. Let's go and get it.